There it goes. Okay. Welcome to PJ Knits. My name's Penny. I live in Central Illinois, and I am a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. And today is episode 110, I think. I think I've got that right, even with notes. And I have my friend Kendra here with me.
Good morning.
And we're going to talk at the end of this podcast about journals. So stay with us. Grab your knitting because it may be a little bit long because we have lots to say about journals and knitting in general. So as far as the weather is concerned in Central Illinois, we're getting winter is coming.
Yeah.
Dig out the I had to go out and get my shovel out of the garage this morning. Later on, I'll get my heavy coat, my boots, my snow shoveling mittens because we're getting like 3 waves over the next 2 days, and then it's going to get freaking cold. So if you're in Florida, have fun golfing.
Yeah, have a great time. I think it's 4 to 8 inches tonight and wind gusts tomorrow.
Yeah. And then next week it's going to be a high of somewhere in the 20s. So.
Yeah.
You know, we were begging for some winter and to wear some sweaters, but I was ready to be done with winter now. So anyway, we're going to get started. We're going to start talking about the cowls that have ended. And the first one is the Burra cowl. I am not showing mine because it's not any different than it was the last time. And yes, in the new year, I will work on it, but I'm just not inclined right now. There's too many other things I want to be knitting on. And we did pick a winner. That was Soaky Knitter, and she was number 189 in the Ravelry group, which is Sally, I believe. And I think it is. I know it's Soaky Knitter, but I'm pretty certain her name's Sally. But anyway, she was the winner of a bag, a sandy bag, and it went out to her. And then Kendra, she brought hers along because she did finish
I did finish mine. I stopped a little short. So this is Jamieson and Smith. I knit to the pattern for the color work. I changed up my colors. You can see like many of the colors are different than the pattern. And I stopped a little short. Like I did 3 pattern repeats instead of 4.
3 pattern repeats this way, right?
Yes.
And did you put any less stitches on? Because I know I did, but did you do less?
I don't think I did. I bought a circular needle that was shorter because I started on magic loop. Did not like that, which is my usual method.
Right.
But yeah, just stop short.
Okay. And it softened up too, for sure.
It did. I washed it in wool wash to start with, and it was still way too scratchy for me. And so, at the suggestion of Rosie, I soaked it in hair conditioner,
right? And
that softened it up a lot.
And so, do you like it more?
Yeah, I do. I like it a lot. Like I can wear it now. Before it was too scratchy.
Okay. So next week when it's 20, you could put that.
Yes.
Definitely keep yourself warm.
For sure.
Around the neck and keep the wind out. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
That's super cool. Yeah. So there's a lot of ones. Some of them did out of Jamieson. Some of them did out of a super wash from around the table. Yep. They had some kits.
Yep.
And so there's been varying, finished objects, and I don't feel bad because I'm not the only one who didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I had good intentions, but for me, I like and I want to do more color work in the new year, but the small circumference is like, I really wasn't loving that, and I don't think I would love doing mittens either.
Yeah.
I think this is as small as I want to go, as much as I love seeing all those mittens and things.
Yeah, I found the same thing. Like, I love doing color work. I've done it on sweaters, hats. For some reason, I did not enjoy this. And I think it was the circumference. So, probably not mittens for me either.
Yeah. And so many colors together.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the changing of the colors as you came around, and the ends that were laying there, and a lot of nights they were flipping up at me, and I just wanted to, like when I was a kid, I just wanted to take the scissors to the bangs. I just wanted to take the scissors to that thing. I didn't, but it was like they were in the way all the time.
Yeah, they were. And I didn't weave in a lot. I maybe woven like 2 or 3 stitches and then just kind of rubbed them together.
To
like,
get them to felt together,
yeah,
because
it's woolly enough.
the nature of the yarn. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, that I really softened up too.
It did.
Again.
It did.
'Cause it's not as, a lot of those were they were like, what do they call those things, you know, when you get in a, when you have whiplash.
Yeah, right.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Yeah.
Those collars with whiplash.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, yours turned out wonderful.
I'm
and
happy
good
with
colors in it. Yeah, and it was nice to see some new colors. Then you know, I used just the colors that were in her patterns.
Yeah.
And Marie Wallen has a lot of cool patterns out there. I do know that we've talked before that her sweater patterns, a lot of them are like, if you are all, they're not really all in the round. They're back and forth, and you have to purl and color work, which is not my favorite thing to do. And
yeah, I mean, this did sort of teach me that I probably don't want to do an all-over colorwork sweater.
Yeah. Well,
like,
you might change your mind.
I might. You never know.
You might change your mind, yeah. So that was the Burra cowl. That one is taken care of. We've done finished the 4th quarter of Mistletoes on the Ravelry group. And the winner was Sparky 136, and her entry was 171. So you can go out to the PJ Knits Ravelry group and check out all the socks for the last year. And then going on now, we started the Hap-A-Long January 1st. And that's going to probably go all year long, because there's several haps I want to do. And I think as others see them, they may want to join along or see what they were, or like several of us have some whips that they want to pull out. So for me, it's going to be ongoing and kind of at least through 6 months-ish, but maybe to the end of the year. So anyway, we're going to talk about the Hap-A-Long. And Kendra, you have yours. We'll start with you.
So I have to say, I'm glad you did this, because at first I thought, oh, I don't think I want to do this. I found it, like, the idea of it a little intimidating. And then when I looked closer, I'm like, oh, it's really not. But then in my family, we're expecting a baby. So, not me, like my son and his wife.
New grandma.
Yes. So I am doing the Tweed baby blanket, which is a Shetland Hap inspired.
Right. By Brooklyn Tweed.
Yep. I'm using Debbie Bliss baby Cashmerino. And so I'm doing white for the center, and then the baby is a little girl, so I'm doing a light pink. I think it's called light pink.
It's very blushy.
Light
I like that
pink
blush.
and citrus.
Those are great
colors.
I love I think this all together, right, is going to be so cool.
Yeah.
Different but cool. And that's what I like about knitting those. I'd shown that picture years ago that I did for my first one, and they were very different. They were not pink and blue. They were grays and beige and kind of that rosy mauve-y color.
Yeah.
So, and this is that center square is an easy square to do for a while. Well, the whole Tweed baby blanket is a nice one to do. A good foray into it.
Well, and I went down a needle size from the pattern.
You did? Okay.
Because the pattern is worsted. This is DK. And I thought, if I need to, I could do an extra repeat of the border.
Oh yeah, that border can go on forever if you want to. Yeah, you can add different things to it. So that is really cool. So I just have a couple. I have a new one that I cast on. This is the Hansel Hap out of Lost City Knits Foothills Fingering, and this yarn is discontinued.
It's so nice.
Yeah, it's 100% merino, but I had it in stash, and so that's going to be my center. The inspiration photo is the Shetland. Is the Shetlands. There's a photo that Jameson did several years ago, and I've shared that before, and I'll share it again down the road. But it's going to have some blues and creams and brown in it. So that's the Hansel, and it's going to be the full hap, and I have plenty of this. So I'm going to make it as wide as I can, because I want it to be large. So that's the one that I'm working on, and this I'm working I decided to do at the first of the year, I was thinking every morning I would work on socks. And that lasted half a day. And then I thought this would be the perfect kind of early morning watching podcasts, drinking coffee, knit. So I'm going to knit on this in the morning, my center square, my Hap. And I also pull it out for Zooms because it's perfect. It's perfect for that.
It's great for Zooms.
Yeah, until I get to the more, until I get to the borders, which is it's gonna be a while. So, and then the other one is I have another one, but have done nothing on it. This is the Stonington. This is by Elizabeth Zimmerman. I've had this forever and pulled it out when we decided to do the Hap-A-Long. And what it needed was the borders. So I have been working this border. That's what I'm working on now. And the border's kind of fun. When you get to these, when they go back there, it's a back and forth border.
It's beautiful.
And it's kind of cool to do. I guess this is the right side, technically. All the yarn. Now this is a Shetland. This is Jameson Shetland in aqua, which I have lots of. But it's a super easy border to do, going around. And this is where I was last time I podcasted. And then I did this just over the New Year, really. At New Year's is really when I did it. I haven't done any more. And so that's just one side. But like I said, this is a whip since the beginning of time when I went to knitting camp and tried on one of the samples and realized then how it softens up.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So
gorgeous.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I just wanted to get done and out of my hair, and it is Jameson's Shetland Spindrift in aqua. So it is a woolly wool, but it's really kind of softening up. Anyway, so that's really all I have when it comes to the KALS that are going on, I guess. So, turn page, Penny. Okay, sweater project. Are you working on any sweaters?
I am. So I am working on a sweater that is called Svendsdatter.
Oh.
I took a class through Yarnia, which is a yarn shop in New Jersey. And they do some virtual classes, in-person ones too. And so I was motivated by a couple of things. One was, I've done color work before. I've never really done 3 colors in a row.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which there are a few of.
I see that now.
I've never steeked, and so I wanted to learn that. And I could not love this more. Like,
yes.
I'm using Kelbourne Woolen's Scout, which is their DK. This is I think all of their colors in that are heathered. So this is pewter heather. This is sunflower heather.
Oh, okay.
This is their natural, and then the teal bits I had in my stash.
Oh, wow. That's just marvelous.
Yeah, so I'm on the bottom ribbing. Very excited. I'm going to steek before I do my sleeves, just because the class is finished now, but it's still fresh in my mind.
Sure.
So I want to steek while it's still clear to me. The nice thing about their classes are they record them all, so you have access to the recordings forever. Which is going to be a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've learned so much in this class, like a lot about sizing, measuring. I'll show you a little bit of that in my journal, but I have really enjoyed it.
Now, did we talk about how are you going to handle the steek? What's their...
So, their method is to do a crochet, pick up here, a crochet here, and then fold it.
Yeah.
and then stitch it.
Okay.
Like just a little whip stitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then
so
cut.
it's a crochet stick then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Years and years again, years ago, I took from Brooklyn Tweed. Jared Flood, he was in Chicago, and I took his crochet. And I remember at the time that was such a cool method because I had learned, you know, the stitching down both sides.
Right.
And then with the sewing machine, and then he did that, and I thought that's so cool. Well, and now with the woolly wools, just recently on Facebook group, I think it's Stranded Knits, and Denise from Lost City Knits post. Somebody asked how to handle their steek. It was a very woolly wool, like a Jameson or something like that. And she says, I just cut, and I've done that for years because they're so woolly.
Right.
I've not just cut, but I might try it. I might try it this year.
I don't know. So this is 100% wool, but it's soft.
It's a soft. It is not a.
Yeah.
It's not a
scratchy wool.
Yeah, I don't know how that would behave that way. And you've learned the crochet method, which I think, as I recall, with that method, it was very finished.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't. That was my thought at the time.
I mean, she did say in the class, like, because there were some people in the class that used superwash to machine stitch those
definitely
on either side.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's so cool.
I've learned a lot. It's been a great class.
Was a great class to take. Though.
Yep.
So I have my April cardigan. I didn't even bring to the podcast because I worked on it not at all. But I have worked a little bit on my comfy, but generally just at the shop. I did take it off the needles, put it on barber cords. It will fit. So that's about the extent.
So
I have
nice.
not gotten very far at all. It's just been at the shop, and I haven't been at the shop. I guess last week was the first time I've been there. So since last time, that's the extent of it. But I really am. I put this into my journal, and I want to have this done by January because I want to wear it a tad in February and then maybe into March. So that is the whip for the shop. And then I got this wild hair the other day, and I've been messing around ever since the new year, thinking I want a simple sweater just to cast on and knit. And last year or the year before, my years get mixed up. I did an EPS, an Elizabeth Percentage System sweater, raglan. And it must have been last winter, early in the winter. But anyway, I did it out of Plotulopo. I had Plotulopo that I have had forever. I had bought some drops mohair when they had it on sale to go with my Plutulopes. And so then I've been thinking about those for some time about, you know, I want to make a sweater. I want to make another EPS sweater, another throw and go sweater, like throw it on tomorrow when I have to snow, you know, blow or shovel with a coat or whatever, or just in the springtime throw on. So I've been noodling with this. I made a swatch more than a year ago with Plutulopes. I've got it upstairs. It's there's like Plotulopo by itself, there's mohair with it, there's cumulus with it, you know. So I already had the swatch and been thinking since, you know, the New Year's, well, I want to cast that. Oh, no, you really need to be knitting on these sweaters, and that's another story. But anyway, so last week I got this thing. I'm like, you know what? I want to play around with this. I want something that's kind of fun. And my intention was to cast on this sweater using EPS. It's kind of multifold. Using EPS again. They're bottom up. Kind of, you know, everybody's top down, kind of to put a thing that bottom up's not that bad, guys. Yes, you can try it on.
Are they pieced?
No.
Or no?
They're
bottom up in the round.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of like put that thing out, you know, when somebody, you know, scares you away from something. I was like, this, yes, you can try this on. It's just a different way of trying on. So, and I wanted to do EPS. And so I was just going to cast on a sweater on the round using EPS, using my swatch. Well, then I was looking at my books from Schoolhouse Press, the Opinionated Knitter, the Almanac, and, you know, how the knitting brain goes another direction. Oh, let's squirrel. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they're like, no, you want to do just a plain old sweater in the round. Well, it's not a plain old sweater in the round, but I'm having fun with it. I decided to take one of the motifs, and this is Plotulopo. Comes in these lovely plates, and I think I have about 800 grams of it. I don't know what the yardage was. And then I have this dress.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I wanted something to soften it up a little bit. Let's put it that way. And so using EPS, and I will talk about this whole sweater down the road more up in depth about it, how I came about. But anyway, so this is a pattern that was in the Opinionated Knitter, was part of an Aaron sweater. Okay, so it had all these cables that went from this, and I knew that I didn't want much. I just wanted a little fun stuff. So I'm having so much fun with this one.
Beautiful.
This is what I've been doing. EPS, Elizabeth and Meg sweaters, for the most part, are always bottom up. They're always in the round. There's a method to it. They do sometimes do steeking underneath the arms before the sleeve. They do it all in a tube, and then they steek this piece. I think this is just going to be a drop shoulder, but anyway, so I'm just kind of playing with that. And so, again, I'll talk more about it. I think it's on a 9 at this point in time.
That's beautiful.
But it has the mohair, which makes it a little bit softer, because Plotulopo is an unspun Icelandic, and it is right off, it's the sheep right off the sheep. So, and it's one strand of each. So it's going to be the perfect sweater for in the winter type thing. So I'm playing around with that. Just having some fun with it. Not a design at all, because that's not my thing. I'm never going to be a designer. Don't want to. And when I do this, it's like, I understand how difficult it is to design. I don't know how, I'm sure there's grading stuff and all that, but no, I sat last night doing some decreases, because I want to decrease, up to a smaller circumference, and it's like, okay, this is math.
Yeah, I know.
This is that math
I
stuff.
know.
So anyway, but that's what I've been working on as far as my sweater projects. So, and I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But anyway, so then mail call.
So I have a couple other whips.
Oh, go for it. Yes, let's see your whips.
So I had this bright idea.
Again, goes back to our prior conversation, Kendra. We
I'm like, okay, I've got 3 projects. I'm going to focus on those. And then I won some yarn, and then I have a great niece who has a birthday next week. And I'm like, I'm going to make her a stuffy. And then I got this yarn, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to make her a Squishmallow. I saw an ad on Instagram or something at Walmart where they were Snoopies and Woodstocks, a big bin. And I'm like, that's what I was thinking. It was itty bitty, and these things were big. They're like pillows.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So I started looking for a pattern. There are lots of crocheted ones. I'm not a crocheter. I'm like, I don't want to crochet it. I want to knit it. There was not a single pattern that I could find for a knitted one. And so I examined one closely at a store. I'm like, I can do that. So that's... Now you won this yarn. I won the yarn. Oh. It is really nice. The yarn is... It reminds me of something that Knitting Place had at one time. It is Knitting Fever, and it's called Furreal. So it's a faux fur, and it is really nice. Like this is one of those things that you knit up a little thing. What do they call those things for little? You'll find out what they're called. Like my kids' aren't babies anymore. You know, where they like a lovey. Yes, this is a lovey type thing. Oh my! So I'm like, okay, I can figure this out. So I just knit the bottom and like did a rectangle. So I started, on this side, increased, did the edge, went to this side, decreased, and then picked up. I will say, picking up this furry yarn was not fun. And then I just started knitting in the round, and I've done some decreases. So I think I'll probably do maybe this much more. I have an ear, one ear so far.
This is so cute. Oh my gosh, this is so freaking cute. Well, the yarn makes it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, the yarn makes
Oh
it.
my
It is not my design talent, but I did a little ear.
Oh my goodness, Kendra.
Wait. There. So here's the little ear. I'm going to do another one. So the ears will go on top.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll do some eyes. And then I was looking at, so it's going to be a teddy bear. So I think I'm going to do like a round.
Oh yeah,
like
a,
you know, like the
their,
snap.
like their
not
never
the
snap, but
their face. Yeah.
Their-
And then just do a little nose and a smile that I'll probably embroider.
Oh yeah.
And then eyes. And
That'll be so.
that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
how old is she?
She's going to be 8.
Oh my gosh.
But she loves stuffies and cuddly things, and she
Oh my
appreciates knits.
So
Like,
she is so, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Who would, that is
Yeah.
adorable.
So
Oh my gosh. And I wish you all could feel that yarn because it
is.
it is truly, if you are have anxiety at all, this would be the yarn
Yes.
to get.
Yes.
And just, this would be the thing to just.
It is really nice.
It
I
is
was kind of
wonderful.
skeptical because I'm not a novelty yarn.
Yeah, were you,
kind
when
of
you won
person.
it, you're like,
I'm
what
like,
the
"Oh,
hell
what
am
am
I
I
going to do with that?
But it is really nice. It's really nice.
That is
So
fantastic.
yeah, it's been fun.
That is so cool. Well, I didn't realize what they were until, I mean, you said, but I thought they were some, I was trying to envision, and I didn't research it. And it just popped up on a reel or something. And they had this bin, huge bin of them at Walmart. And I'm like, those things are big. Those are,
Oh yeah.
those are huge.
They are. I mean, the one that I examined to get the idea of how to put it together was on an end cap at the grocery store.
Oh my God.
The whole, all these shelves full of them.
Oh
you
my
know, like
goodness.
before Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
They're very popular.
Oh, that's so cool. So,
Yeah.
do you have another whip?
I do. I have just one that I want to mention quickly. It's a hat.
Oh, and okay, let's just start with the
Yeah,
bag.
I know. Isn't that so cute?
And who's, do you remember?
This is stitching the high notes.
Oh, sure, Joanna.
Yeah.
Joanna.
Yeah, it's a
Oh my
really,
gosh.
really nice bag.
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's perfect for the winter season.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because it's like Christmassy, but I feel like I can still use it.
Yeah,
It's not
totally.
over the top Christmassy.
That's totally where I'm from. That's where, hence the snowman
Yeah.
things.
Exactly.
The tree that's still up.
So this is just a very simple hat. The pattern is Hill 60, which is a free pattern.
Okay.
And I am doing this for a project that is called Hats for Sailors. And so it's being kind of sponsored by Around the Table Yarns,
Okay.
which I do a Zoom with the group from there.
Okay. And we'll link that. We'll link
Yeah.
that. Everything will be linked
Yeah.
below.
So
in a
it's
couple
just
of days.
hatsforsailors.com, and
Mhm.
it's very cool. Like, so this organization collects hats, and twice a year they send them they collect them until they have enough for a ship of the U.S. Navy or Coast Guard, and then they send enough for every sailor on the ship. And it was started by a woman whose daughter was about to become a commander on
Okay,
the USS Decatur.
Okay.
And she put out a call to knitters and crocheters to collect hats, and
This is the first I've heard of that.
yeah,
That's
it's
so
very cool. So they have 2 deadlines. One is Memorial Day, one is Veterans Day.
Oh, nice.
So they collect by those dates and then send them on.
What a great thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool.
The only requirement, like they want, or they ask for different sizes for different size people, men's and women's, because there are lots of female sailors at this point. They ask for 100% superwash.
Okay.
So they want them to be washable, and they asked for no acrylic or nylon or anything because of like the flammability.
Okay. So Cascade 220, that
yeah,
super
that's what
wash,
I'm using.
Superwash.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be perfect.
Yep.
And color-wise, can it be any color?
Any color.
Okay, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the
Doesn't
color
matter.
is. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
And
Okay.
on their website, they have some links to 3 or 4 free patterns.
Okay. Okay.
They don't require those patterns, but they
You
provide
can do
them.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, that's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, everything that we talk about today in the next couple of days, sometimes it takes me a couple of days to get the show notes linked and all that, maybe 3 days. Will be in the description box below, but we'll try and do links to everything Kendra has and everything I have as well, so you can press the link on that. So.
I think
Yeah.
I'm going to save this for my journal
Yeah.
talk.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think I'm
Okay,
good.
all right. Now, you know, when I rewatch this sometimes, and I don't always rewatch, but I notice when you just did what I do, and now I know why I do it. A lot of times I'll be looking at this when it's just me, and I'll look at, and I'm one of these. And I'm like, oh my God, Penny, you are.
I know.
But it's like, did I forget anything? It's like
Yeah.
survey the crowd. But anyway, so I have a couple of mail calls that I wanted to talk about quickly. I'm only going to show this one. I shouldn't say that. Here's one. Here's another one. These stitch stoppers. And this is a result of our friend Amy, who let me know via Instagram that there was a sale from a couple of weeks ago from Timber Yarns.
Oh, gosh.
And they have Snoopy, they have Pikachu, and unfortunately I bought 2 Pikachus. I only want one for the grandson stuff. And then I bought Peppa Pig for the pig. I mean, like, come on. And there were several Snoopies. So there are several Snoopies over the course of some time you will be
those
seeing.
things.
They are the best stitch stoppers.
So I don't think I talked about mine on my hat. I love these things. These are Fox and Pine, and
Fox
I
and
got
Pine, and
these
I love
at
that.
Skein Yarn Shop.
The Skein Yarn Shop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that Fox and Pines.
Yeah.
I liked the other ones, but I like that Fox and Pines, and I Timber Yarns. I've got some of her yarn, and just because they had, you know,
Yeah.
So I'm putting, I'm buying stitch stoppers for those projects for those grandchildren. But I'm also buying the Snoopy, and that's what Amy. Thanks, Amy, for the shout out, by the way. Anyway, because I never would have found them otherwise. I would have stopped. So I think there's 3 that I've got. So
I love those things. It's become a bit of an addiction.
It's an
for
addiction.
me.
It's a collecting thing. It's
Yeah.
collecting. People collect pins. I have some pins that I occasionally get, but this is a collection.
Yeah.
You know what? They make me happy.
Yeah. Me too.
They're on my knitting.
Me too.
So. And then I finally got my book from Wool. I shouldn't say finally. Wool and Company came. This is the Sari Norlund book, and I got mine from Wool and Company. They had them in stock. Free shipping. It's the Softly Timeless Knits book. And you know, I looked at this, and I kind of sort of knew I wanted it like right away. And then when I got it, you know, it was one of those things. I'm like, why did you buy that book? Did you not look at it very closely? And I think that would have been one of the first things I turned to. And I'm like, I know I'm never going to knit this. So I'm like, oh, you didn't look at this very closely. But it quickly turned the other way for me. But here's the first one that I looked at. And I'm not going to knit it, but then I sat down and I just looked at the book. And I now have a list of 5 sweaters that I want to do. And I'm going to talk about this whole sweater thing later, but look at this.
Well, and it's just a beautiful book. I mean,
yes,
to sit and look at and enjoy, and it's beautiful.
And this cardigan, this one just jumped out to start after that initial thought. So I have left that whole my brain thought, well, why did you buy the book? But look at this. It goes, wraps around the back. And of course, they were in Paris when they were doing all the photos. So there's a couple of hats I want to do in here. There's a color work.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And what I like is they talk about the sweaters. There is no schematics, but they tell you, what the arm is and all of that. But all of the charts then, look at those socks. Right?
Pretty.
One of the socks they said, this is better to do as a magic loop. I'm like, okay, that's good to know. But all the charts are then in the back.
Oh.
Which I like, that you're not muddying up all that with theirs. They had a shawl in there that was fun. And it was just nice to hear the story. Even like this one, that I'm like, why would I put that on my list? But I really like this. I'm into this cable-y thing at a point in time. And this goes back to the same thing that I'll talk about during my journal of my thoughts for the new year. But yeah. This hat.
Oh, that's really...
And then this is the shawl.
Cute.
I mean, I'm just... So, one should never judge a book by its first opening. Let's just put it that way. That was my thought, because that was the first thing I came to a couple of these. I'm like, okay. But, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I know for sure I want to knit at some point in time. Just... And the photography just...
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice book it's a nice book to look at on a winter day, for sure. Got that from Wool & Co. because they had it in stock. Just super neat pictures, And I think that's why part of the reason I bought the book was because it was timeless. And she talks about it in here, and this is one of the things that I put in my journal. Basically, she said, it's a compilation of wardrobe staples inspired to be knitted and worn year after year. They are cornerstones of your wardrobe, which are easily combined and layered for different occasions. Classic, timeless, easy, adaptable to your style. And make something that's going to last. Make something that you really like. And so, anyway, I'm pleased to get that. I can't, oh my gosh, it makes me want to knit more, right? And then I got this super cool gift this morning from Kendra. Little ceramic sheet that's going to go on my tree over there with my. And then I think, it's perfect to hang in the room, which I do have some things like that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So that is, that's that. Okay, journals.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to start out one thing. I've been doing some sort of knitting journal forever. And I cannot tell you the year. And I no longer have this stuff, but it started out as a piece of paper, 8 by 10. I made up this little page that I put all the pertinent information on it, and it had all the ball bands in it, along with the yarn and maybe the swatch, and they were put into a binder. And I thought about that the other day, and I got rid of them all finally. I'm like, they were like, it has to have been back from the, early 90s, whatever. And there would have been a lot of binders with this stuff. And so that's how I started out tracking my knits. It was before Ravelry was even out there. And it was just, some basics, that type of thing. So I've been journaling that forever. The other thing is I journal trips as well. And we did when we went to Montreal. I have my little Montreal journal. So I have still part of it left, right? And this is going to be my Florida journal as well, because I just want to remember things and put things into it. So, this journal was, just like what we did, what the weather was, just things I took with me. I put those in there, things that I wanted to buy and things that I actually bought. and I had little stickers that I got from Hobby Lobby, and then, you know, the note cards, what I bought where I could, and
No, I love that you put the note cards of things you bought,
Yeah.
because like I use this same journal for like the planning part of it,
yeah,
but I didn't do the after
Yeah.
part of it. I love that.
yeah, in keeping with, you know, what we were buying and all of that. So I don't just journal my, I'm just a writer. You know, and Kendra and I talked about this from the work aspect. It wasn't really a journal. It was more of a list making.
Yeah.
But if we didn't make a list and due dates and things that had to be done and they had to be done
Right.
for, they might slip through the cracks. So I've always been a list maker, and I think I did a diary way back when I was a kid
Oh,
too.
yeah,
you know,
I
but,
did too.
You know, all of that
Yeah.
stuff. But I do like to journal stuff, and maybe it's just a lot of writing this stuff. But so I do journal trips, you know, major trips, that type of thing. So
Well, and it just made me think, I kept a diary when I was a kid, and one really special thing to me when I was little was that my granddad would always give me a birthday gift that was just from him,
oh, nice.
which was so sweet.
Yes,
like,
yes.
And he gave me a diary once, and he wrote something along the lines of, keep track of your thoughts because they're important.
Totally.
And I'm like, oh, what a great message, like to a child, you
Yes,
know, like,
yeah, for anyone. And one of the my friends that I went to high school with, I just realized in the last few years, because she talks about it, but she has been journaling forever, you know, and she showed on Facebook a journal cover that she had made out of records, out of a record.
oh, wow.
And
That's
just
cool.
recently, yeah, because she journals and she talks about how her kids are going to be this array.
Yeah.
So it probably, I want to say she's probably done it for 20, 30 years. So she has a lot of journals.
cool.
But you know, and I think it's kind of nice just journaling thoughts, like you said, in general. I have a journal that I put some stuff in every day, and then when I'm out on the porch, it's a different journal. You know, just things in general to remember. And we don't know what life will bring, so I may need to read that and say, oh, you know, that type of thing. So I think it has its fun stuff. I had a journal. I remember a notebook journal that I had that I also had knitting in, and I think I finally got rid of it because it was one of those that was rudimentary. It was like after the binder thing. So I went back upstairs because I started keeping them, and this one is from 2011. And
So I feel like I have this same one.
You probably
was
do.
that from a knit away?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I have several of these, and then they stopped. Vera Bradley stopped making these.
Yeah.
Okay, which I hated because this was the great journal, you know, and so there's a method to the madness of all of it in there. But as far as journaling is concerned, you know, it's a process for me, and my process is I like paper patterns, so I will put a lot of information on the paper pattern and then put it into my journal and then put it into Ravelry, so it's like in a couple of places for sure. But so this was the first one, you know, and it was not as much information in it as these others, you know, have progressed type thing, but always the same thing, and always in the beginning in pencil, so that I could get rid of or whatever. But so that's the last one I had. Debbie Bliss Cashmere. Yes, this is the Tweed one.
Yeah.
You're the one that Kendra's making. There you go. So, and I bought it.
That was for Madeline, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bought it for
Love
Jimmy
it.
Bean's wool. Yeah, and put in, you know what, by Jared Flood. Put the yarn and that. Yeah. And where my inspiration came from, how much I used. You know, I was really into those things. Yeah. And isn't that funny that should be the one that I have? Oh my gosh.
So I have a similar Vera Bradley journal. It might not have been with the wires. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I started the same way, I think probably inspired by you, and started with labels, and I would cut pieces of yarn, and then I was just really, really sloppy about keeping it. Like, didn't keep up with it.
Oh, okay.
So I will still sometimes look back in that and went, oh shoot, I didn't write that one down.
Right, right. Yes, there was,
Yeah.
I think it was like the Shetland one, the shawl. It's like, where is that?
Right,
You know, I could
right.
see it on my Ravelry where it was a whip started. I'm like, well, thankfully I had some information,
Yeah.
but never did I have any
Yeah.
notes in that. And it was
Yeah.
probably in that binder that I'm like, I'm not keeping this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's the oldest one that I really, really have. And back in the day and going forward, when there was a whip, it got a paper clip.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is, and for me, I start, you know, this was in 2011, and I just kept using the same journal.
Mhm.
Now I do differently now, but there was always a paper clip. So this is still a whip, which was a sweater. And so only one other one that's still there was a Christmas stocking. And I know I'm never going to finish that. So really what I could do is cut bait on this, and I
Yeah.
need to go through those
Yeah.
and get rid of those paper clips. But that's the oldest one that I have on file. So that was 2011. But anyway, then this is last year's. And a couple of years I have, I went to these, they're Ottergami or something like that. I covered over the course off of Amazon. And I like them because I like the paper on these because they're dot. And
Yeah.
that gives me some, you know, line-ish type
Yeah.
thing. But this one, I discovered the world of vinyl stickers from you and Brenda and others. And so I started decorating my journals, you know. So this is 2023. Now I have a journal for every year, for sure. And so I put the stickers on it. In the beginning of time, then I'll put what year it is so I know exactly what it is. But interestingly enough, I usually skip that first page, so there's nothing there. But then I start with goals, and this is how I've done it in the past, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit. But I'll put goals in there of what I want to do for the year. And then I went back and I did, you know, in the tealy turquoisey. And then I went back at the end of the year and put in red. Nope, didn't do that. Nope, you know. Did I do new designers and challenges? Not really, you know. So kind of like a critique.
Yeah.
You know, I once was going to be a school teacher, so so I critiqued that. But that kind of lives in the first of the journal. And then in the past, what I would do, then the next page would be finished objects. And I would just keep a rolling, you know, tab throughout the year of what it was, not of the type of knit it was. And I just put a little mark on there so as to see, you know, what did I concentrate on last year? And it definitely was some sweaters, for sure. So I'll put that, you know, put that little tally. And then every month of the year, then in the beginning, I would put like, there's a page for each month, okay? And so this was kind of like my planning thought process of what I wanted to have done. And it's not by any means set in stone. You know, it's just a thought process of what I thought I might need to do. Or if one of the kids had a birthday coming up and I'm like, well, their birthday's in July, so you can't wait till July to knit on that. Or I'm going to knitting camp, so maybe you got to start working on those things in February. So I kind of would put them in there. I also, then one of the things I've talked about before is if it didn't make that month and I thought possibly next month or future month, I would just make an arrow. And it's perfectly, you know, I see these as our journals. Do what you want to do, you know, whatever. And if you want to say, no, that's not happening, and I've done that. Or if you want to just keep putting arrows, you can do that. I would go back in red too when I finish something and put the date in there as well.
Well, and I think I took that idea from you because I'd heard you talk about doing the arrows. Like, it's okay to not finish something that month if you, or even start it. Like, if you want to just move it forward.
Right.
I also took the phrase from you of knitter's choice.
Knitter's choice,
sometimes I would just write knitter's choice. Yes. Not doing it right now.
Or not at all. Or it's like that. No, I'm over that. Yeah, that was a great idea on January 1st, but it's not happening.
Right.
So, and it's okay, but it's kind of interesting to see what the thought was, you know, as you go along. And then I do like to add, you know, little stickers and things like that.
And you did your squares.
My Sunday squares. I kept when I would do each square, and I'm over that, so I don't have to do that. So, in the new one, it's, you know, it's much different. The other thing I did do is I numbered the pages down at the bottom because, as we'll see in this one, then I went back and at the end of the year I did an index. So I was like, because the other day I was looking for what sweater was that I was wearing.
Right.
Oh, I know the name of it was Cozy, but I want to know more information. Well, what page was it on?
Right.
You know, so I did an index. So I numbered all of my pages at the bottom as it went forward, and I used stickers whenever possible. Now, the thing is, I don't, you know, again, it's my journal, and it doesn't have to be super pretty. So, I don't think you have to go down a rabbit hole with stickers and things like that. But yeah, sometimes it's fun to go to that Hobby Lobby aisle, and you know, and see fun things. So, I was doing there. I guess I looked like I did it through what, Mayish. That in and out thing, yarns in, yarns out, and I'm like, I'm done with that. I don't care.
Same.
I don't care about that.
I did that for a month or two, and I'm like, this is not bringing me joy. So
no, and yes, especially because, well, it was, you know, and two, if more came in than went out, it was kind of like, no, I'm not chastising myself.
Right. It just made you feel bad about yourself. So I'm like, I don't need that.
Exactly. So that's kind of was the start of my thing. The other thing I would put on these monthly pages last year, and I'd like to do it again this year, is I went through by month and events that we might want to attend at the bottom, and the date and where they were at. This is what I'm talking about. So it's like, okay, yeah, I might want to go to Kentucky Wool Festival. Oh, that, you know, that's not happening because of whatever. And the dates, kind of something fun to kind of look at. And here's one of those things here where, you know, I crossed it out. Nope, the Death Star's not getting done. It hasn't even been started. So it, you know, it's okay. Birds are going out at it there. So it's okay to cross off, put things that you want to remember. You know, I had some socks. I'm moving those to 2024. That's the thing. So that was the beginning of it. And then I just started putting other information in it from the podcast, like mistletoe winners and that type of thing. I do my projects, as I said, too. Every project that I knit, I've got some pages on. And if it's a whip now, there's no paper clip, but I'm using little tabbies to show the whips. So everything has a page. I am putting little sticky notes on here so that save that page for the picture and maybe the yarn label and some yarn, which I haven't done. But I make notes. On this particular one, I do typical page always is up in the right-hand corner who it's going to be for and where I bought the yarn. Because it's like, So nice. It's like a thing up there. And then the date I started. And if I finished it, then it would have the date. And then I do what the name of it is, and if there's any hashtags, just adding information that I might want to remember when I cast on, etc.
Oh, look, we cast on together.
Yes, we did, via Zoom at midnight, January, 12/31. Yeah, exactly. Just little notes like that. exactly, to put in there. And then sometimes I'll use some erasable pens or some gel pens to put information in there because I like to occasionally do some pretty ups. And then if it is finished, of course there's no tab at the top, and so all the information would be in there. Start date, end date, and then I had this habit of taking a highlighter and highlighting around when it was finished, and it was like, say, 2023, anything was finished, and that was this color of highlighter. So
oh, nice.
I can go back and say, oh, it was a green one. Oh, I finished that in 2022. I started in 2022 or whatever. So same rationale of information of what I did, and then a piece of the yarn and a label if I had it. And then I started doing this printer. I bought a printer so that I could put pictures of me in there, or the garment, the finished garment. So again, and then just kind of dressed it up with whatever labels that I had.
No, I like that idea because it's not just, I mean, you could do that from the pattern photo.
Exactly.
But this is yours.
This is mine. I want to know what it looks like.
No, it's nice.
Yeah, and this was the Sophie scarf is what I was doing there. Yeah. But we happened to take that picture up in Montreal. So give you a feel for what those are looking like. But yeah, I just and then when I do get some sort of catalog, I think this was a Talbot's and it was blue. I'm like that, where the murderer sends you the letter. Yeah. So, and I use washi tape, right? We'll talk about that. And so this is what I was talking about. Yeah. See, my sweater is very aqua, and this is the color that it came out. And I did make some notes about that. So I have a little stamp that Kendra gave me too. So I try and put as much information in my project page for future reference because just because you never know when you're going to need that for some other project. And so I've saved some pictures and it's just some fun stuff. I find it fun. I have to say I don't go overboard. That's for sure. I mean, this is as, out there as I'm going to get, I think. But it's kind of fun just to sit and do it.
It is fun. And I don't feel like I go overboard either. But I like to make it like you, like visually fun. Yeah. And I think if we didn't enjoy that, we probably wouldn't love yarn.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, we love the colors and all that. So
right.
It's just fun.
And it's just fun. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money either, like I said. So I do, I document all the projects, but then I also go through and sometimes I'll throw in a page of, this was my finish list or cut bait for 2023. I sat down and said, these are the whips you have. Are you going to finish them or do you need to cut bait? And so I cut bait on some, and some are still hanging out there as a reminder for later. But, so I'll do pages like that. There'll be pages like, I have a page of when I thought I should have been knitting something, let's do this sweater, but you need to do that at a certain time. So, and then I made a list of fall winter sweaters that I want to knit, and I still want to knit. So, so every once in a while, in between all of that, I'll just throw some stuff in there. I do have some, sometimes some things will kind of speak to me about, what I'm going through, and so I'll throw those in there just because a good place to leave them at, and we celebrated our friend Annette's birthday, and so I did a little journal of what we did that weekend. I put it into my knitting journal because they were all knitters. I've met them all through knitting, so I added that to the journal because what I found is in the prior years there was like all these pages left over, and I'm like, well, I need to fill that up with something, and it was so much more knitting related, and so I had a picture of when we went to Touche.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and all pretty almost always knitting related. You know, like I said, sometimes the anxiety or thing is in there. That particular one, that was key to wanting to travel somewhere for knitting, and so it falls into that same category. So yeah, so I'll just put it all in there, and then I'm saving my birthday cards and my birthday prezzies that I got from my knitting friends, and so I put it into my journal, and then I add the cards.
That's great.
Yeah, because I keep a lot of things in drawers, and I'm like, well, I want to. This is fun, just to sit down and look at it, or if I got something special from somebody. So,
well, and I love the idea of like documenting trips and gatherings and stuff, because how many times have we said, oh, what year was that at Stitches, or what knit away year was that, or when did we do that? You know,
or who was there?
Right.
You know, who went to Annette's party? Now I know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just
I love that idea.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I had my Advent stuff in that each time.
Oh, nice.
That I put in from each person, and whatever the little gifty was at the end. So it's a documentation of my adventures, I guess.
Well, it's a document of like your knitting life, which is a big part of your life.
Right.
So.
Right, exactly, and just the things that you want to remember.
Yeah.
And I even put in here Christmas cards and pictures received. So I'm like, okay, now, and I have a address book that you can check those things off. But next year I can go, oh my gosh, okay, this is my list that I need to send. Yeah, and just like I said, put it there. Things that went out, and then when I got all the way done, then in the end I have an index. I roughly put all this stuff like in categories A to B, C to D, and then listed it. And then I made an index for this particular journal in the back with the page numbers, so I can, go back to that and say, oh, that's that, easily.
No, that's a great idea.
So I did that, and then in the very back, again, I have more pages. I do hashtags because I do a lot of Instagram, so I did all the hashtags that I want to remember, and maybe there's helpful hints of yarn weights, that type of thing, and then final thoughts, for 2023 of my knitting. It was a good year for knitting, and Saturday night Zooms, how important those were to me. So that's kind of the 2023 journal. And fat, but I love doing it, so, okay, I've talked about my past there. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I have been slow to the journal game, and I have two things going now. So I started this one in 2022. I got some stencils from my son and his then fiance, and I was going to do a bullet journal, and so I did these stencils.
Kendra.
I was going to track my habits and blah blah.
I love that.
Well, that lasted about a week. So then I was like, okay, this needs to become a knitting journal. So I started with that, with my plans, and I probably 3 years in a row, I transferred this from one calendar to another, which was a cat, and it says, unravel your problems one loop at a time.
There you go.
So I started in 2022, and I, did a thing of my projects. Well, the problem was I just didn't really keep up with it. I mean, I started a list, so I had projects listed, but I didn't keep up. One is finished, one is not.
But still a good start for somebody who doesn't want to go all in. We've heard that before. And I'm sure that some people do that already.
Oh yeah.
They just don't call it a journal.
Right.
They just have a list. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
2022 for me was the year of the sock. One of my goals was to figure out the sock that I liked best for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So the size, the pattern, etc.
Right.
So I had a page of like all these different notes that I took from podcasts, I think, or things I'd read, you know, just little tidbits. And honestly, it was sloppy. And
it was what you were doing, you know, it's...
I know, but it didn't really make me happy because it was sloppy, you know, and so then it kind of became my sloppy journal. Like, in 2023, honestly, it became where I would just make notes. Like that I wasn't going to keep or whatever. So 2023, I got more motivated. And so for Christmas, I bought myself this thread and maple leather journal binder. The nice thing about this is, so I don't know if I showed you the front of mine. I also love a sticker. Love a good sticker. So I was committed then to journaling better. And so bought myself, so you can buy different inserts for the thread and maple binder. So this is a Luke term.
Okay.
Which I'll give you the link for that. Yeah. It's a German company, but you can get it on Amazon. Really nice journals. So kind of a hardcover. You can choose the dots, the dot grid or lines. And it has, and I haven't done this, it has in the front where you can do your own index.
There you go, yeah.
So I need to do that. But, so I became much more diligent this year. And started with goals. Very simple.
But you're not calling them goals. Are you all calling them goals?
Last year I called them goals.
Okay.
This year they're not goals.
Oh, yes, right. Right. That's right. That's right.
And I did maybe 3 out of the 6, but that's okay.
Yeah. And your goals were specific.
Mine
right?
were specific.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have changed that. So last year mine were to make some Selbu mittens. Haven't done that. More garments. I have done that. More socks. Have done that.
Definitely.
Pumpkins, which I've done. I wanted to do something decorative in my house for Christmas. Did not do that.
Right.
And I wanted to mend my hero sweater, which I have decided to let go of.
Donate.
Cut and bake.
Cut and bake for that.
Yep. So I just became much more diligent. I don't have probably as much detail as Penny did. I'm going to change that. That's one of the changes I'm making for 2024. Like each project, I'm going to limit to 1 page. But, you know, I kept plenty of notes. I would do like an arrow. You can see there, you know, when I change plans.
Coming forward, yeah.
Yep. One thing I'm going to do differently is make a bigger section. So, like, I put a lot of tabs on mine.
I like this, that you put the tabs like that. And
right.
I think this is, we're seeing 2 different ways of doing things for sure. Yeah.
But what ended up happening was my projects are interspersed. And I'm going to, like, block off a big chunk of pages for all of my projects before I start doing other things.
Because mine's all, you know, like I said, we're going to throw in that, you know, Christmas pictures in the middle of everything. Yeah.
But I did a variety of things. Like I would make notes about knit-alongs that I wanted to like either keep track of in my head or participate in.
Definitely.
I would keep notes from podcasts, things to read, things to watch. So the sweater class that I took, that I told you about, I made a section for that. because I wanted to keep really, really good notes.
Right.
So I have probably 3 or 4 pages, and I did just kind of an update. Like I did a progress section, would keep track of my progress.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, sure.
Mostly just to keep up with the class. You know, like here's where I'm at, here's where the class is.
Right, but still a smart, you know, again, timeline.
Right. But I kept my sloppy notes from the class in here where I could just scribble.
Exactly.
And I mean, these aren't super neat, but I wanted them to not be scribbles.
Right. You want it, yes, exactly. Like I do on the pattern, and then now I'm going to make this sound better. Look better, or yes.
One of the things that I learned, so in this class, she talked a lot about measuring and choosing your size, etc. One of the suggestions she had was, like you hear many people say, to measure a top that you really like or a sweater you like, and to take your body measurements. And she said, do all of that and make your own schematic.
Yes, yes.
And so I did that, put that in my journal. So it was just nice because you can look at a schematic, compare it to your own personal schematic. So I have that saved. You
know, the interesting thing about that, seeing that, it's in, again, the book that I'm working on off of the EPS sweater. That's what I've got.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the EPS kind of sort of, you go from here to there, and this is the schematic of your sweater.
Right.
Going forward. Yeah, that's so cool.
One of the other things, it wasn't written in my goals, but it became a goal for me, is that I wanted to learn stretchy bind-offs that weren't tubular.
Right. Yes, right. Right.
And so I did. I learned how to do the alternating cable cast on, and I learned how to do the Italian sewn bind-off. I am not... I can watch a YouTube about how to do something, but I really prefer written instructions.
Right, exactly.
And so I would watch the YouTube, write my own notes, and so I kept those in my journal and put a tab on there. So I wrote out the instructions just from what I took notes on. So I have the cast on and then the Italian sewn bind off, same thing.
Exactly.
And I refer to these a lot. Oh, and I have some stickers.
You know, this is very reminiscent of class. You know, back in the day, right? We would take notes and then solidify that, you know, okay, the professor said all this crap, you know, but this is what I want to remember about that.
Exactly.
And so you have it there in your journal, which I think is so cool.
And I, similar to Penny, I didn't show this before, but I do a monthly page where I just kind of, these aren't really goals, it's just my plans for the month. And I usually use a marker that I like and some stickers.
And nothing is ever set in stone. That's the thing, you know, it's a plan, it's a thought, you know, it's easily can be changed at any time because it's knitter's choice. You don't have to, you don't have to go that direction.
Well, I was going to show one where I made some changes. See, this is one of the things I'm going to do differently this year because all of my months are not together and all of my projects are not together.
Right. Exactly, and I like that thought process going forward as well because and I'm not went very far in mine, Kendra, but I kind of stopped because I'm like, okay, what I was finding is I would have, you know, I would either not have enough pages, right, because I started the next project. Or I had notes I want to write, and it's like that's why I've not put anything more into mine besides the Hap-A-Long, because I really want to know where that's going first. You know what I mean? But that's such a. Well, I did do this mid-journal, and started making notes too. So kind of that type thing. That's a smart way to go. Sure.
So here's just an example of one of my monthly plans where at the end of the month, then I put it's still a whip or it's done or I crossed it out. Yeah. This is the month my son got married. So my last item was get my boy married. It took the spotlight over some knitting.
Yeah, exactly. But now, again, if you went back to that, we're 5 years from now,
Oh.
That's why
Right.
if you were so inclined, you
Yeah.
know, I like to review what I've knitted. You know,
Yeah.
this 2011 journal was kind of fun, just like, holy cow. And then
Yeah.
you saw that one. So, yeah.
So I have a couple things I haven't put in yet. I did also a 2023 kind of recap where I just
Yeah.
wrote down all my
Nice. Right.
projects by category.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
I have, I wrote a list that I'm going to put in of July ideas to start knitting for the holidays.
Christmas. Mhm.
Yeah. And then my goals for this year are much more general.
There you go.
I want
Yeah,
to
talk about
focus
those.
on learning new skills, which I like in the past, I feel like I've focused more on, I want to knit this sweater, or I want to knit something very specific. What I feel like I've learned is that learning skills is just so much broader. Like you can generalize it and apply it to lots of different things.
Right.
So I want to, I've knit a lot of socks, and I want to focus more on textured socks, like cables and different textures.
There's a couple in this book that you would love.
Yeah. And then knitting baby things, because that's going to be a focus of my year.
And they are so knit worthy, and
Yeah.
for sure. And not only just baby things, but going forward, children's.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I know.
If I had, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And then one of my goals is to be more diligent with my Ravelry pages. Like, I've gotten better about doing the pages, but I don't always put as much detail.
Right. The more, and I find that so important when I'm looking at something. We talked about this on Zoom too. The information that's there. Somebody asked me about the sweater. I'm like, I have no idea. I can't tell you what I did, but I know I did something. And if I put it there, I try to add the notes as much as possible, because I enjoy two things. I love it when people do that. I'm like, oh, they did that on a size 9.
Right.
They had issues, and I need a picture of it on your body so I can say, oh, I can't wear that, or I don't want to wear that type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah, those are my only goals. Okay. And then when I started my January page, like I carried over, I put a list of the whips I was carrying over, and then my plans for the month.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I have knitting goals as well, and a lot of these they keep going.
You have a lot.
I keep adding them, as by way of different colors, but. Mine are, again, I want to knit from my library and my PYS, my Penny's Yarn Shop. I want to do that. Now, that's always on the list. It's on a list for a lot of people, but we've said it before. We have a lot of good yarn. I have a lot of cool yarn, and I want to knit it as much as possible.
Well, and I didn't write a goal. So I had that as a goal last year to, do the whole stash down, and I had a list of exceptions.
Right.
That were allowable. Well, what I found was that a lot of my purchases met those exceptions, but I still bought a lot.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm not even formalizing it this year. I have found that it, though, has brought me a lot of joy to knit from my stash.
Yeah, there's some cool
as
stuff.
opposed to getting joy from buying new yarn.
Right.
So that's what I'm going with.
That's kind of my plan still. And I have gift yarn. I want to knit on that. Finish some whips. My goal last year was to not have any whips in my journal, and that's not happening, but I would love to finish those. I want to, this goes into something else, new designers and different designs. Creature of habit. Everybody's knitting it, so I have to knit it. And I want to be not that person. Because then I see other people who are knitting certain things, and I'm like, that's so cool. And that's not a pattern that God and everybody is knitting, but it meets the criteria of a new design, a new designer. I've always thought, and I want to continue this, knitting sweaters before the season. But I have a lot of sweaters for the seasons. And so I want to be knitting a transitional sweater or whatever, but I don't want that to preclude me from finishing a woolly sweater in the summertime because then it'll never get done. And it goes back to the Sari Norlund book when she talked about timeless sweaters, you know, sweaters that test the time. And so I really want to do more of those type of things as well, that stand the test of time. And I just put in a couple of inspiration people that do that, I think, really well. Of course, Elizabeth and Meg. You know, Meg doesn't produce gazillion patterns every year, but those are timeless knits. And just because I know Meg and, you know who she is and been with her or whatever, been to knitting camp, you know, I admire that. And so I want more of that, less flash in the pan, you know, and I want to wear a sweater that not everybody's wearing. So I've kind of left that one. Of course, Denise from Lost City Knits, you know, she does fantastic color work and knits. And Susan Rainey, she's another one. Susan Sally Rainey, those are a couple ladies that they, you know, they do fun stuff, but yes, they do timeless stuff, I think, as well.
Classic and
classic,
well designed, well knit, beautiful, beautiful knits.
And I'm not going to see them everywhere. And then recently we have become acquainted with Margaret from My Wonderful Knitting Life. She has a wonderful podcast, and she has been knitting colorwork sweaters. And the sweaters that she does, they're not sweaters that you finish and you wear in a week.
Right.
I mean, they're colorwork, and there's add-ons, and it's some beautiful knits. So those are kind of my inspiration people recently, that my brain wants to do more of those things as well. And I have a collection from my library of different books from Meg and other people that I could do. So I want to do better with my color work and better with my steeking. Maybe the socks. Definitely the Hap shawl is something that's going on as well. So those are kind of my goals, my knitting goals. You know, some of them just are the same every year for sure. But I just want to challenge myself, you know, and not, and even the comfy sweater that I'm knitting on, it's not a super challenge for knitting, but it's not just a straight stockinette. And I've been working on it for, you know, months. Yeah. But again, that's kind of where I'm going with my knitting goals for the new year. So, I have made my monthly pages, you know, but I didn't go all in like I did last year. I'm kind of making it just a couple of months at a time, knowing that I want to do, and most of these are whips to get done. So I'm putting them all in my journal, adding this time getting out of the pencil range and doing stickers. And this sticker was from something I got. Was an insert probably in the Amazon book.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm confiscating that one. So, you know, things that Christmas in July, I've started the Christmas in July list, you know, of things that I want to do, because we've both talked about, you know, on and off camera that we want things to wear in December for Christmas, but we really want them done right after Thanksgiving. Right. So we got to do this in July. So,
I don't want to have yet another year where it's December 1 when I get motivated to knit Christmas things.
It's too freaking late.
It's too late. I want to start wearing cute Christmas socks
the day
on
after
December
Thanksgiving,
1.
right? Yeah. And I want more Christmas socks, which means I better get my butt moving on the socks. And so then mid-journal, I pulled a mid-journal page and I put some sweaters that I want to knit that are those rustic wools and things like that. And so I put them into my book. So this is the 2024 one. I started putting, you know, some stickers that friends gave me, and started, you know, I have the Hap-A-Long and I have mid-journal in there. So using those tabs quite a bit. So that's...
Well, and I love these tabs.
Yes, you gave those to me, and I am liking them more and more.
And I looked back on my Amazon to see if I could find a name, but I like these because a lot of, you know, like the little Post-it things are too flimsy.
And these here are hard to write on.
Yeah, they're hard to write on, and they don't stay put. These are like this part of it is easy to write on and it's a little more substantial, but this part is still easy on the paper. Because a lot of these journals have paper that's a little finer, right? Than just like copy paper or whatever.
And two of my Hap-A-Long, vlogs to watch in 2024. I made a list of that so I can remember that. And some ideas for the Advent swap that I'm going to be in right after the December. I put those in there.
Yeah.
And then here is my information on the Hap-A-Long, and that was my inspiration picture. I put that, I printed it again and put it in the 2024 journal. There we go. And I started putting little paper Post-it notes on the pages of what color pen and what type it was at.
Oh, nice.
So that's that journal.
I did buy a new set of pens for myself. Yeah. Kind of for Christmas.
And do you know who they were?
They're on Amazon, and it was just a set of, they were like earth tones.
Oh, cool.
So not my usual.
Not that bright.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're gel pens, which I like for this kind of
gel or
page.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
So this is my little bag of journaling supplies. And I hate that nobody makes these bags because I love this bag, but it's the perfect journal supply. So I'm just going to talk kind of sort of quickly about what's in here. A few years back, my friend Lindsay gave me this little bag. Okay. So it has all of my pens in it, my assorted pens. Some are gel. And I also like these Pilot Friction erasable pens. I use those a lot.
I like those too.
So I have pens, and I have my gel pens, which I love. Again, Kendra got me started back on those. I used them at work all the time. So I have all kinds of gel pens. I keep them in my little baggie. I think there's more in this. Yep. More pens. So I love the gel pens. I love the friction ones because you can erase those if you make a mistake. I do use pencil. I bought at Hobby Lobby this tape, Adtech removable tape to tape down my more my photos than anything. I just use Scotch tape to tape down the other, so the labels. So that's in my little bag. And then I have, in the very bottom, I have some tabs also that Kendra gave me. Try those out. And then I have my stickers in a little for future pages, you know. They're great on water bottles, but they don't always stick on water bottles. So I started putting them on my pages. Why not? You know, there. And then I have also some stickers that I want to get more of. I bought a lot of these off of Etsy several years back. So there was bunches of different ones to decorate my pages with. There's a llama one, there's a summery one. So I want to get some more of these because I'm using a lot. There was little sock ones and that. So I have a little group of different things.
I've ordered different stickers from Amazon and Etsy, and I feel like stickers are a little bit tricky to order.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to, I mean, you can't really see the quality.
Yeah, envision what you're really getting.
Right. Yeah.
The fibertree.com, that's how old it has been. Fiberterry.com. Fibertry.com, maybe that's what it was.
Fibertree?
Must be. I think it's Fibertree, but spelled T-R-Y.
T-R-Y.
And I liked the ones that I got from her. I got some coffee ones from her. So also then this came with my journal last year and this year.
I have that set too.
There we go. That's the journal. And have I used them? No, not totally. But I should. So that is in the bottom of the bag. And then I confiscated, this was something my mom had years ago, a little container. And I have washi tape in it.
Perfect.
And it's kind of fun and related, right? Mm-hmm. And again, varying places. Some were gifts. Go that way. And then last year, Kendra gave me these stamps. So I like to stamp these up too. This is a little... And she gave me, it's an archival stamp pad. So this all is in here.
Well, and
super fun. I
if
love
I could
this.
jump in
Yes.
with, as you're talking about washi tape. So in my like note-taking journal, kind of my sloppy journal, if there's something I know I'm going to look back on, I'll put washi tape around the corner, which just makes it a little easier to find.
Stiffer, like the corners from pictures when I was a kid.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put 2 or 3 strips on there, and then you can kind of flip to it a little easier.
Easily. That's fun. That's fun. So this is very low key and low cost. You know, this was not a lot of money. I did not spend a lot of money here, you know, but I want to get some, like I said, some new stickers, you know, and you can go back and sticker it up at the end, right? You know,
sure. For sure. The only thing pricey was for me was my thread and maple binder, which it was my Christmas present to myself last year, and I love it, and it's beautiful.
And you will use it, and
I don't take it out and about. Like I keep it at home.
Right.
It's got a little scratch on there, but I polish it up with mink oil about once a month, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
So,
it's something to keep yours in. And I don't take my journals out either when I don't travel with them. That's why I put everything on paper for the most part, and then come back and do that. So I don't have anything more with journals.
I was going to show my little sock journal that I've got.
Definitely.
So I subscribed to a sock club from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And it's a monthly sock club. And so you can cancel at any time, which I think is nice, but I wanted to try it. I'd never...
Sure.
I told Penny recently I'm a big fan of self-striping sock yarn, and so as a result I have a lot of striped socks, but not very many solid or tonal socks. So I got my first order, which I love. It comes with 100-gram skein, which I divided into 50s, and then a mini. Very pretty. Very happy with the colors. And they have 4 different bases that I've never tried any of them, like based on the type of sheep. So this one is Bighorn sock.
Never heard.
I had never heard of that. But the cool thing was it came with a little sock journal.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it just has a little general information in the front about each of the bases. So they have 4 bases. So, no, 3 bases. So every month you get a different base.
Oh, wow.
And then you can, so this page is, you can color in if you finish the sock for that month. Then it has just a general list of patterns that you might want to try, which was fun. I enjoyed that because I went through and kind of chose some solid or tonal, you know, textured kind of patterns that I want to do. And then for each month, it has like a little tracking thing. So a calendar where you could, so I just wrote when I got my yarn, because it was a little later because it was January, and when I cast on, and then you can put your pattern ideas once you get the yarn, and then what you ended up making when you started, etc. So I just thought that was a really cool little fun goodie.
Definitely.
And every month, so the photo is like the inspiration photo for the color of the yarn.
I love a good inspiration photo.
I know. I know. So I'm really happy with this. So I just wanted to share it. I thought it was a really, really cute little journal goodie.
It's so cool. I love a bike there.
I know. I love this one too. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to get July for sure.
You bet. You bet. Yeah, why not?
So yeah, just wanted to share that.
So cool. Oh, wow. That's neat. I tell you, and again, you can do as much or as little as you want to, or don't do it at all. This is just it. This brings us joy. We enjoy doing that. Amy. Yes, definitely. Amy.
It will bring you joy too.
It will bring you joy, and I see it again. It goes back to the thing of work. It's like, oh, check. Check.
Right.
Or no, you didn't do that, but not to beat myself up or
right.
lessons learned or whatever. So.
Well, and I think when I really started being motivated to keep track was when I couldn't remember.
Yes.
Like I've only knit since 2007. And so for a long time I could remember.
Right.
The yarn, the pattern.
Oh my gosh. What pattern is that?
Right.
I know what that is.
Yeah. And after a few years, you don't remember.
No.
Because it's just too much information in your brain.
Yeah, so, I think I know, but again,
right.
I didn't know.
Right.
So that's fun stuff. So cool. Yeah. Well, before we leave journals altogether, if you would please, to those who want to, if they would comment below about journals, if you do one, if you're going to do one, if you have a great resource for stickers or things that we should look at. There's a lot of people out there who do other journaling. Chelsea Yarns, right, and Marlisa, all of it. Yep. They're in deep with bunches of things. And I have journals for certain things, or I have notebooks for certain things. Like I have a notebook that I keep notes, of notes for podcasts or whatever, or it's knitting related. But so anyway, if you would comment below about journals in general, give us some information. And in the next episode, we'll have a drawing for Sandy Bag.
Oh, so cute.
Isn't that cute? So we will do that. I will pick that out from the comments below. If you would, like, subscribe, tell a friend. If you're so inclined, we have a Ravelry group, PJ Knits. We are Zooming on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time, and that information is at the head of the PJ Knits group. I am PJ Knits on Instagram, PJ Knits 1 on Ravelry. And I have, my blog is www.pjknits.blogspot.com. Find the info there. And Kendra is...
I am Kendra...
on Instagram.
Kendra Moses
with a
61.
Yes.
On Instagram, and I think the same on Ravelry.
I think you are now. One, yes.
Yeah. So feel free to follow me, friend me.
Most definitely follow us. I only Kendra Moses 61.
Yep.
I only, for the most part, with the exception of a couple of ladies that I went to high school with, only follow knitters on Instagram, and ditch anybody else that comes across. Got lots of male friends who want.
I know. It is so funny to me. Like, I'll post a knitting picture, and then all of a sudden, these handsome men want to be my friend. I'm like, what?
What?
But I'm the same way. Mostly knitters and some family members who just have to look at my knitting.
Some family and friends. So, what are you wearing before we go completely away from that?
I am wearing the Blue Sky 27 color Snood.
Yes.
Which is a pattern by Blue Sky Fibers. I love this. It's just a shoulder shrug. Nice. I got this kit from Around the Table Yarns in Ohio, which was really nice because the kit just includes what you need. Like you don't have to buy, the big
you don't have all
bundle.
Those leftovers.
Yeah. But it was fun to knit. I love to wear it. It feels nice.
It looks nice too, and it's comfy. It's perfect for
very
today,
comfy.
for day for sure. And I'm wearing Avalanche by Heidi Kermeyer. This is I've had this for a while back in the day. It's out of Haiku Simply Worsted yarn, and I'm a fan of her patterns for sure. But it was perfect for today because it was kind of warm up to wear, chilly outside getting there. So
pretty yarn.
Yeah. And it's not bad. There's a little here and there. There's some fluff, but really, I wear it a
Yeah.
lot, and I wear it all day, one thing and another today. So that is all I've got. Anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for
Oh.
coming and podcasting and talking about your
Yeah.
projects and your journals
It
and
was
all of
so
that.
fun. Thank you
It's-
for including me.
I'm glad you could come. It's a super, super long one, but I wanted to talk about journals, and it's all the better when have somebody else who, has also this different perspective of what she's been doing as well. So we hope that you will try and journal, and foray into that.
Yeah. And let us know if you start or you already do. Let us know.
Yeah, and post on Instagram. I find Instagram my life, my knitting life for the most part. So anyway, we're gonna have snow.
Yeah.
I just saw on Instagram real quickly that Minneapolis, St. Paul is getting snow. Susan Rainey was posting that.
Oh, yeah.
So in the coming days, there will be a lot of snow pictures. And think of me out there, probably 3 times in the next 2
Right.
days shoveling this thing so it doesn't ice over. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for watching and for shouting out. We do appreciate it. And if you feel like coming to Zoom sometime, do that as well. There'll be another Hap-A-Long Zoom, I think. Maybe we'll announce that towards the end of the month. Maybe the 1 month thing. We'll do another Zoom on a Monday night. So anyway, thanks
Or
so
join
much.
us on a Saturday. It's fun.
Yeah,
We have a nice time.
And we talk about everything.
Yeah.
Non-knitting stuff, the world in general,
Yep.
and I get advice from others when I need to know something I don't know about a certain thing. But, yeah, so we have a great time. It's a great group, and every once in a while we'll have a new person that will join us. And so last week it was Marina, and that was kind of nice. We were nice to meet Marina and talk to her and all of that. So, all right, have a good couple of weeks and stay warm and wherever you're at. We'll see you later. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.